Hi, Josh. When you and
Morning.
Ryan and Chris were talking about defensive free agents who was available last February, early March, what intrigued you when Ogba's name came up? What had you been familiar with from looking at him when you were in New England, et cetera? And what intrigued you about his skill set? And has he performed even beyond your expectations?
Well, I think with all the guys that we bring in, that it starts with, they're fiercely competitive. They have a skill set on the field that we covet. He can do a lot of things. He's very multiple. And I think, the other thing is he's a hard worker. So, I think with a lot of things that we ask him to do, we could be multiple with that. He's been able to do that. I mean, he's shown constant improvement, week after week. And I know a lot of people, they look at, kind of the, call it flash stats, but there's a lot of things that he does for us defensively that opens up things for other people. And, he does a good job of setting the edge and we move him around. So, and he's a good worker, good kid. He's a joy to be around. So, and we're hoping that continues to improve, that we can do more things with him.
Steve?
Josh, good morning.
Good morning.
Do you think that last defensive performance is one that Bill Arnsparger would have appreciated? And if so, why?
I think so, because we were multiple. And I know Bill likes good defense. And, that's a credit to our players. Those guys were out there. They were playing. I was able to go back and watch it this morning again, because you're always looking for little things here and there. And I think the thing that Bill probably would have been most impressed with is the way we were getting all 11 guys to the football. They were flying around, and the communication was at a high level. So, hopefully that, that set, I would imagine it set good in his eyes. I'm not sure on that, but, and hopefully we can continue to build on that.
Joe?
You're muted, Joe. Sorry, bud.
Joe, go and try it again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, good morning to you. I enjoyed watching the third down packages, the blitzes. There was one time where you brought 8 guys and the sort of offensive linemen, it looked like their eyes were about to pop out of their heads because they realized that they didn't have enough people to block. And then other times you drop 2 or 3 back into coverage. I'm curious, can you kind of help me understand how you decide when to blitz and how many to bring, especially in those third down situations?
Well, I think it's like all situations. You would like to have the ability to be multiple. And I think everything starts with us on a down in, down out basis, not exclusive to third down, but you're always trying to put pressure on the quarterback. You're trying to put pressure on the offensive line to make them execute. And hopefully in turn, that puts pressure on the offensive coordinator. So I think if you just line up in the same thing, the same fronts, the same coverages, it makes it fairly easy for the offense. I mean, there's a lot of good players on offense. There's a lot of good coordinators in this league. And, if you make it easy on them, they're going to hurt you. The hard part of doing that is, we have different personnel packages. We have different groupings, and everybody needs to be on the same page as far as a communication standpoint for that to all operate at a high level, which, we've been working very hard to get that turning in the right direction. And obviously, we've done some good things, and there's some things that you go back and look at the film and, and I think our guys see that and say, hey, this could be a little bit better here. This could be a little bit better there. And that's really kind of how it all starts for us is it's really a communication thing. And we're really trying to put pressure on the offensive line, the quarterback, and in turn, hopefully that puts a little bit of pressure on the coordinator. But like I said, there's a lot of good offensive linemen in this league. There's a lot of good skill players in this league. And there's really a lot of good offensive coordinators that, they make it tough on us.
Adam?
Josh, I was wondering, obviously it's your first career shutout as an NFL defensive coordinator.
Were there any phone calls, notes, texts that kind of meant something to you? Did you get a game ball? Is there anything in the last couple of days that's really stood out?
Well, a former mentor of mine, Dean Pease, who he's been a coordinator in this league for a long time, and he's had numerous shutouts. He reached out to me, so that that meant a lot there. There was a lot of other guys that they reached out and stuff. But again, I mean, look, I've been around football, like I told you guys earlier, since I could walk, and really a shutouts, I mean, for a defense, that's we kind of always strive for that, but it's really a team thing. It's the offense doesn't put you in a bad situation, or whether you're on a short field. And then obviously in the kicking game, Danny, those guys, I mean, we had great field position all day. So it's really a team thing. There wasn't, and at the end of the day, I'm happy we win, and I'm happy for our guys, and I'm happy for the guys that have success out there playing. So, I mean, it was nice to get some text and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, you're just trying to win the game. And like I said, a shutout is really it's a team thing. The offense does a good job. They don't put you on short fields, and the kicking game, those guys usually put you in good field position. So it's definitely a team thing.
Cam?
Hey Josh, just piggybacking off that shutout deal. I was curious, is it like baseball when you have a no-hitter? At some point you start to think about it, and I saw they kicked a field goal one time, or you're hoping, they don't make it, because that zero is something that seems so rare. Obviously it's the first one of any team this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's human nature that you obviously on defense you go into every week and you go, hey, we don't want to give them anything. And, like I said, there's a lot of good offenses in this league. There's a lot of good skill players. And, you make one mistake, with the skill players that we face week in and week out, I mean, they can put you in scoring position in a hurry. But yeah, I would say as the game goes and, you're in the flow of the game, and you kind of, you look up and go, okay, well, we got a chance here, and, again, like I said, I think it was important to our players, not just our defensive players. I think our offensive players, I think Flo's done a great job of building a culture that, our guys are genuinely happy for each other. There's no more play defensively that was evident than when Brandon Jones got that tackle for a loss for us on 3rd and 2. You could see the excitement with everybody. And they were all happy for him, and it was a big play for us defensively. So, I think that's really a credit to Flo and Chris of the culture that we have. When offensive guys are excited that defensively you're getting a shutout, that's a pretty good sign.
Alan?
Good morning, Josh.
Good morning.
So Xavier Howard is kind of looking like the guy he was in 2018 when he made the Pro Bowl with the way he's playing right now. After what was a little bit of a down year before he wound up on IR last year. Is it strictly a matter of him being back to where he was physically, or is there more at play here that you're seeing?
Well, I think, whether it's Xavier or any of our guys, I mean, and I know you guys probably get tired of me saying the same thing over and over again, and I'm sorry for being boring, but like really what you're trying to do is get the best out of Xavier week in and week out. And we're constantly striving for him to be the best version of himself. I think, he has a great skill set, and he's got a good instinct for the ball. And, and hopefully we can continue to improve him from week to week. And that's kind of the idea and the goal and what we're shooting for.
Hal?
Hi, Josh. I wanted to get back to the issue of sacks for a minute. Last year at this time, the Miami Dolphins had 7. Right now you have 17. I'm wondering what you attribute that to, and when was the last time you saw a 28-yard sack?
Well, I think, again, it goes back to, anytime that you can get pressure on a quarterback, you're trying to do that. Like, again, like I said, our our goals from a structure standpoint are we're trying to put pressure on the offensive line. We're trying to put pressure on the quarterback. For those sacks to come to fruition, sometimes it's an individual effort. Sometimes it's a scheme thing. I think, the communication that's improved, from week to week for us, I think has helped us. And again, sometimes it's just a good individual effort. So a 28-yard sack, they don't come around very often. I know that. And that was a big play for us in the game. And to be honest with you, as a coach, you go back and you look at the ones that you left out on the field. So, I know we had a good amount of pressure and, we had a couple sacks here and there, but I think there's a couple things if we fine tune, there's a couple that we left out there too. And again, it's always improvement. That's, whether we're sitting here after a shutout or we're sitting here after a poor defensive performance, the process for us is the same. And that's, kind of how we'll approach this week. We'll look at how we can get better and things that we can do to, increase the pressure on offenses. And, hopefully we'll be able to take advantage of those opportunities, when we get them in the game.
All right, we have time for one more. We'll go to Steve.
Gosh, you were talking about culture, and Brian also mentioned that yesterday, the chemistry on defense, guys enjoying playing with each other, enjoying each other's success, lifting each other up when things are not going well. Yeah, I'm sure you've been involved with defenses where that wasn't the case. I'm just wondering how elusive is that kind of thing to create, and how do you go about creating it?
Well, I think, obviously Coach Flores' background and my background are very similar. And I would say that the teams that we've been on that have been good have all had that good chemistry. And I think what you do is it starts with guys that are fiercely competitive. They're selfless guys. They put the team first. And when you get a group of guys that can do that, and, and I know I've said this before, and obviously this isn't my quote, it's been said time and time again. It's amazing what you can accomplish when nobody cares who gets the credit for it. And I think, when players buy into that, when coaches buy into that, you have the opportunity to become, better than what you could be. And I think when you got a group of guys working together and everybody's on the same page, you start to see, just genuine care. And obviously, we all spend more time in the building than we do with our own families during the season. And, one, that's a credit to our families, that they can handle that. And two, it's, you just build a strong bond. And when you got the right type of guys that do that, that genuinely care about one another, you have a tendency to play a little bit better because you really care about the guy that's next to you, or you really care about the guy that's out there on offense, or you really care about the guy that's out there in the kicking game. And like I said, I think Chris and Flo have done a great job of bringing those type of guys in the building.
Morning, Chan.
Morning.
This being a bye week, it's obviously about improvement. And I'm wondering what you would say is the next step in the development of Tua. What does he need to improve on? And knowing you, I think you might be tempted to say everything. Could you please be specific?
Well, it's hard to be specific. He's been thrown into a very difficult situation in that he didn't have any preseason. He didn't have really an off season. So I'm going to say everything, but, really just overall understanding of what we're trying to get done. And I think he has a basic understanding of it, but you don't get the specifics if you don't get out there. So the specifics of things and feeling the speed of the game and all that kind of stuff is hard. So hopefully, as time goes on, we can continue to have him develop and see, how quickly, he can get ready to play whenever that might be.
Go to Travis.
Hey, Coach, you've talked a lot about the good problem to have, right? Too many weapons, too many mouths to feed on the offensive side of the football. Just wanted to get your take 6 weeks in, how you feel you've done as far as trying to get the ball distributed to all those guys and how you can maybe do better going forward.
Well, like you said, the good thing is we have some good players that we can get the ball to. And the other good thing about that is now they can't focus on one guy. So they know that we have several options out there and that we're not afraid to throw it to any of them and they can all be productive. So that's a good thing. Do I wish that we could get the ball more to each one of them? Probably so. Is there a better way to get it done? That's what we're trying to evaluate right now. We're trying to evaluate what we need to do better in order to be a more successful and a more consistent offense.
Barry?
Hi, Chan. Want to ask you about 3 backup receivers. We saw Jakeem get a few more snaps than Isaiah Ford for what might have been the first time. What goes back and forth in your mind regarding which of those 2 you utilize more on a specific day? And also on Lynn Bowden, how is he at this point as a route runner early in his development as a receiver?
Well, I'll answer the Lynn Bowden one first. He has some natural route running ability. He has some natural athletic talent. He's just still in the process of learning everything, the nuances of playing at this level. It's not the athletic talent. It's just learning the nuances of being able to compete. And then we have different packages that we use on different weeks that we try to, utilize guys in ways that we think are going to be successful for our football team. But it doesn't. The number of plays doesn't affect me as much as the amount of production we're getting out of each grouping, whatever that grouping might be.
Cam?
Hey, Chan, I couldn't help but notice the first play that Tua ran was a rollout to his left, and it looked similar to the play where he had got injured in Alabama. I wanted to know if that was purposeful to sort of show that he could do it or if it just was happenstance.
I don't give me that much credit. He'd been throwing the ball really well on the move the whole time. I was trying to, they brought the corner off the edge, which was a total shock. And I thought that I would just give him an easy bootleg throw to complete coming off his own goal line. It ended up being a lot harder than it was supposed to be.
Al?
I think, can you hear me?
Yeah. Not now.
Try again. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, sorry about that. I wanted to go back to your first answer regarding Tua and his ability to keep evolving and improving. Is there a certain amount of playing time that he might need this year that you would like to see him get this year in order to reach that level and keep improving?
No, I hadn't really thought of it in those terms at all. I think what we're thinking about is, how much can we get him to continue to improve, getting the reps that he gets in practice, getting, whatever snaps we can possibly get him. That's all we're thinking about at this point. I don't think Coach hasn't talked to me about a percentage. He hasn't.
Adam?
Hey, Chan, I'm going to read you a good stat and a bad stat, and I want to get your thoughts on both. You're just one of 4 teams who has yet to lose a fumble, but only 3 teams have thrown more interceptions.
Yeah. The first one's a very good stat. The second one's a very bad stat. And, you know, I think we do a good job with ball security. I think Eric does a great job of talking about that, and we make it a point every week. And Fitz makes some great plays, and he throws the ball sometimes in a spot that is tough. But, you know, a couple of interceptions, his arm gets hit, receiver falls down. I mean, it's going to happen. You just try to limit those kind of things as much as you possibly can. He made a lot of great decisions, though. That's for sure.
Omar?
Chan, I want to ask you about the offensive line and the chemistry that they're trying to develop. Where would you say that it is right now coming off last week's performance? And what areas do you think needs improvement?
We probably have to do a better job of communicating on our inside run game. That's if I had to pick a thing, I think that would be the one thing that I would choose. I think our pass pro communication has been very good thus far. I think the coaches and Ted Karras kind of runs that show up there and gets everybody headed in the right direction. You know, it's those two rookies on the right side. They've got a lot of learning to do, and now they're relying on each other, and that's a big challenge. But they've done pretty good in these last two games, and the challenges will continue to get bigger as we go on. But I like how our guys are responding right now. It'll be tougher every week because we're gonna start getting everybody's best shot.
All right, one more question. We'll go to Cam.
Hey, Chan, I know Tu only played like 4 or 5 snaps, but were you able to garner anything from his performance that, you know, gives you anything positive or negative to help him grow from?
Oh gosh, yes. You go out there and you look at it, and he got it under duress, and made an accurate throw, and then he sat in the pocket on third down and made a throw for a first down, and those are positives. Those are real positives for a guy that hadn't played a snap. Those are real positives.
Hi, Danny. Good morning, man. You know, last week, or it seems like every week, we always ask you about Jakeem Grant. So what did that mean for himself and you and just the unit as a whole to have a pretty electric performance this past week?
Well, I think number one, it was good for him. I think number two, it was good for the team because we, you know, it really helped us with the field position. But like I said, you know, games are, you'd like to have that every week, but there's so much that goes into having those opportunities. You know, when you talk about, you know, what's the field position, the down and distance, and you talk about all those things, and that even before you get to the ball, if you're getting an opportunity based on the ball. So, but it was good for Jakeem. It was good for the group. And most importantly, it was good for the team, helping us get field position to help win the football game.
Cam?
Hey, Danny, we asked Jason, I guess, about this last week, but he hasn't missed a kick yet. As a special team coach, how do you go about that? Is that, you know, sort of you don't want to talk about it to jinx them, or how do you kind of go about the idea of perfection? Obviously, you guys push for that.
Well, to your point, you know, no, it's not like like you got a no hitter or something going. You know, every kick's a new kick. So in practice, in the game, things that, you know, we don't talk about them, whether they're, you know, in practice or the game, whether he's made, don't want to talk about last kick is a miss, but, you know, it's always the same communication, you know, talking about the rhythm and the footwork and the mental space of where we want to be. And then you just let the kick go and see what happens. But again, just like we've talked about basically every week, you know, he's in a good place right now, working hard, and hopefully we can continue that.
Adam?
Danny, you guys ranked first in kickoff coverage, kickoff yards, return yards against. What has been the secret to your success? Has it been a couple of players that you might want to mention that play particularly well? Have you done things scheme-wise that maybe teams weren't ready for? What's been the key?
I think it's a combination of all those things, Adam. I think it's, I think everything starts with the kick. What we've done with some different situations, what we've tried to do with how and where we're kicking the football. But then it comes down to players making plays. We all know, and you guys have seen it over your careers. You have, whether it's good call or bad call, players can make the difference. They can make a bad call good, and they can make a good call really good. So all those aspects right now are working. But again, it's a long season. We got a long way to go.
Barry?
Hi, Danny. Now that you're at the bye week, you can reflect a little bit. What names come to mind if I ask you who have been your best coverage guys on punt and kickoff coverage? I don't want to go merely on tackles because I'm sure there's more to it than that, obviously.
Right. But I think when you look at, the last couple weeks, I think our gunners have done a nice job. I think Jamal Perry and Mac Hollins have done a nice job getting down the field, which, in the National Football League, if your gunners aren't down the field disrupting things at minimum, you're going to have a hard time. And then I think, inside guys have done a nice job with both protection and coverage. Getting Clayton back at the personal protector has been nice. Kayvon's done a nice job, whether he's played inside or outside. Sam, Calvin, Andrew Van Ginkel, they're all doing a nice job. And then you get the guys, a lot of those guys, Kamu, they're playing on both phases. We feel good about the core group. We just got to keep working and, detail a lot more things. We got a long way to go.
All right, we have one more question. We'll go to Alan.
Good morning, Danny. Matt Hawk on Sunday didn't have any booming punts, but the Jets did not return a single one of them. So how would you assess how we did in that game and so far this season?
I think Matt's done a nice job. I think, again, some of the situations and that come up in games, what you're able to do and what you want to do. Sometimes, the numbers in terms of, your gross, is it a net? Is it, inside the 20s? Each game's a little bit different. How the game evolved and really the situations and where we were punting the ball and what we were trying to get done on Sunday. I thought he had a very nice game.